wanna show you what I know. Break it free from the mainstream, the studio machine. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. Going all the way. Indie Film Nation. You know it's gotta be Indie Film Nation. Indie Film Nation. Indie Film Nation. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. Going all the way. Indie Film Nation. You know it's gotta be Indie Film Nation.
The white man that landed here, he came with two great weapons. One is the Bible and the other was the gun. If it didn't humble you with the Bible, it crumble you with the gun.
I would expect some bloodshed tonight, and sure enough, there would be bloodshed. I mean, that's why when someone asks me about violence, I just find it incredible. What it means is that the person who's asking that question has absolutely no idea what black people have gone through, what black people have experienced in this country since the time the first black person was kidnapped from the shores of Africa.
Anybody can die nobly for a cause. The sign of maturity is to live day by day for that cause.
Hi, Sue Lawson here for Indie Film Nation. Today I am talking to Göran Olsson, who has the film The Black Power Mixtape, 1967 through 1975. Was it premiering here at Sundance?
Very much so. We completed the film 10 days ago, so we had the first screening in the world, first screening of the final product on the silver screen last Friday.
Tell me a little bit about the film.
The film is an archive compilation film. It consists of material shot by Swedish filmmakers and journalists during the late 60s and early 70s on the Black Power movement. So it's only images from that time, and then we added sound of voices commenting on the images.
Now, how was the footage acquired?
The footage was acquired by the Swedish broadcast company or filmmakers in Sweden going abroad to the States and reporting in films and inserts on newsreels.
Any idea why it was important to the Swedish community for this to be covered?
I think there's different reasons for that. First of all, Sweden were neutral. This was during the Cold War era. And Sweden was very much alone in this sense and very rich and small nation, 8 billion people at that time. So they decided that Sweden should have their own media to cover the world. So they sent people everywhere. I think the interest, however, in what we now know as the Black Power movement began really with Dr. King receiving the Nobel Prize in 1964. There was a close connection after that.
So why is this of personal interest to you?
I think I was raised in the middle of the 70s, and I remember very clearly when I was 10 years old and we returned to school after summer, and there was a Soweto uprising, and they killed students in this totally unjust regime in South Africa. So that was an awakening for me, and I think I've always been interested, of course, but also tried to make films about those kind of things that was so important to me when I was small, like the Holocaust, the ANC, and the situation in America regarding race.
Now, how were you able to stumble across this? Do I understand that the footage was kind of found in a basement somewhere?
Yeah, it was found in the basement. It wasn't, it was in the archives. It wasn't like something, put away. And so I would I made a feature documentary on Philly soul from the 70s. and I researched for images, and I found this, and I realized that this was something really good and very important to get, you know, people to see.
So why do you feel it's relevant today, the Black Power movement?
I could say something else before, because what this material was broadcasted on national broadcast, prime time, but then never again. So it's super crisp, and they got the best, you know, so great personality. I think this is important today for several reasons. I think the Black Power movement, in many aspects, are like a blueprint to other movements. The gay liberation, the gay power, women's power, ethnic groups all over the globe has formed itself like the Black Power movement. And I think we all know, even if you're white, middle-aged, middle class from Sweden, I think we learn that you have certain rights, and you can't sit waiting for someone to give you your rights. You have to stand up for your rights. And even if you're standing up and that doesn't happen, you have to fight for your right. But if you do that and are successful, you also have to help others, you know, that can't stand up for their rights. But I think it's clear after this that everyone knows that they have rights, you know.
One of the things that I found very interesting about the film was your integration of current voices into it.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. Several different reasons. I wanted to put some of the images and events in context. That's very important to understand, you know. The film is a form of the mixtape. It's like 9 different songs or tunes, you know, from so it was kind of open in that sense. But I wanted to add voices to explain or comment on what we see. And I was influenced by the, you know, the audio commentary track on DVDs. Sometimes I feel that is a better way of seeing the film with the director or anyone, you know, talking over, dubbing the sound. I like that. So.
Did you feel as though you were positioning yourself as an outsider looking in as you were creating this, or did you feel a personal connection?
I'm very much an outsider, a Swede looking in. And I feel that the people who made this material in the late 60s and early 70s, they were also outsiders in the very same sense. I'm a bit naive because I don't know all the history by heart. I can read about it in books, but I don't know it, you know, first-hand experience. That gives you freedom. Also, that people you meet and ask to be in the film, they are so polite, because if you're from this remote country, you know, they can't say no. So they're very polite and generous, and they do try to understand what you're really aiming at. So they are very, you know, I think if there was an American doing this film, they would be more, you know, on the guard to what they say and why, and so they really try to explain things. So it worked out fine. And also, of course, I think there is different reasons for picking these persons.
Now, who were some of the people that you met that maybe surprised you with this?
I can't say I was surprised, you know, but looking back when I met Angela Davis, and she's you know, she's an idol or something for me, and then she turns out to be also not super brilliant and everything that, but she was also a very warm and witty and funny person to be around with. She was great, and I was kind of surprised that she was, yeah. So I was, she's totally amazing.
On the technical side of things, how long did it take you to put this together? What was your process?
You know this about, you know, making a documentary is a very long process every time. But this wasn't just so difficult. I think we were editing and raising funds for it for 2 years.
Well, it's a beautiful film, incredibly well done. The buzz about it here at Sundance has been amazing. I know you're going to Berlin next with it. What are your distribution plans for it at this point?
we made the film with Scandinavian Film Institute money and European television, and then we're going to distribute it here in America. Of course, a film like this, the most important thing to me is that it's accessible in schools and to younger people. Not only this year and next year, but I want it to be like a book. That's something that should be in the library, you know, for people to see and draw inspiration from.
Is there anything that I haven't touched upon that you want to make sure the audience knows about?
I think the film is about democracy and freedom of speech. And I think that democracy is like boiling water. You have to put energy under it. And you shouldn't dismiss these people like Stokely Carmichael, Eldridge Cleaver, U.P. Newton, Erica Huggins, you know, the list goes on, because I think they were so important for their sake, but also for democracy, freedom of speech all over the world.
What was your favorite part of the filming, of the interviews, of meeting some of the people, of seeing the footage? What was one of your favorite moments?
I think my favorite, and I think I had two favorites. One, of course, with Angela Davis during her interview in jail, and she's so on the spot. She's so brilliant, yet she's under this huge pressure, facing death sentence. It's ridiculous. I mean, and she's still this brilliant, laying out everything, and the reporter is not hard, but he's not very very soft to her. So I think that's the moment that's touching me the most. And then, of course, with Stokely Carmichael interviewing his own mother, it's very touching and very good.
Well, the film again is the Black Power Mixtape, 1967 through 1975. The director is Göran Olsson. It's at Sundance now. It will be going to Berlin. If people want more information,
they could log on to blackpowermixtape.com or Cinetic, our distributor or sales agent, or we co-produced it with Jocelyn Barnes and Danny Glover at Lovature Films, and they've been a great help for us. We couldn't do it without them, basically.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sue Lawson for Indie Film Nation.